Big Boss Jock Radio Show, episode 351. Doing the same, another day. Present at the doorsteps, Reading Police Department. Ongoing protest, now for over 2.5 years. Continues the same, and that is the situation. Denied health benefits. Multitude, well, for me, there's numerous health conditions. So, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to sit on the bike rack. No. Going to spend the while thinking about the history. Family Clark. Going to think about the story, history. Family Clark, the dungeons in Europe, the family Windsor. From the dungeon appeared the family Clark. They took the trek across the sea. There were some that already been making that voyage, and that's the family Hawkins. There'd be a feud between the two, and it goes on until today. The illegal hold of assets being allowed due to one group placed themselves at the USDIA and are in control. They're able to hold the power they do because they're not subjected to any type of oversight. They've been allowed to use the might of the Yankee USA to enforce their agenda around the world. The United States of America isn't led by the U.S. President. That's nothing more than a figurehead. To be seen as a puppet, acts on behalf of the handler. The ones who are in control aren't voted in, permanently placed, have their own group. They choose. It's usually who's the most greedy and mean, commits acts of evil with the most severity, the most cruel. They're right at the top. Program's negative, based on abuse.
I missed you.
Oh, there's another remark. Oh, from them. They're being filmed, and they don't understand. And one day the spotlight's going to shine brightly upon them. The police, they find this situation amusing. Lead bullet in the backbone, now for over 18 years. They can't find it. I mean, more. And I wouldn't want to repeat the same word. How do they find it? Well, they are who they are. And they don't mind. That every day there's a man out on their doorstep who's being denied medical assistance, medical care, because their organization, Another Day, withholds my medical benefits by concealing my identity. They're part of the program. It's difficult for the listeners to understand. They need to get acquainted with the two families. The feud that's gone on, the family Clark that placed themselves at the USDIA. The top of the pyramid exists in Northern California in the county of Shasta due to a command center located inside of the Shasta Dam facility. 80,000 square feet, been in existence since the dam was constructed. Part of the blueprints, the concealed command center. Usually not known to the world, concealed. Well, during the Cold War, I guess no longer because, that's I assume, talked about is frequently the command center. Though the listeners haven't received instruction in the form of you to notice that, well, that's interesting. They didn't know about that command center, and there's an ongoing protest that can't be unless the ones who are being protested are guilty. Though that's accepted. Rape, torture, the police are not subjected to any type of oversight due to that they're USDIA operators at this police department in connection with the 80,000 square foot USDIA command center. Well, let me tell you, listeners, when I pause the recorder, it's because I get little quips. Snicker, snicker. It's so funny. The man who's Alan doesn't get any type of medical assistance because of their ignorant actions. Theirs, the police. So remember how they are. Full of evil, cruel. That is the group. Usual for them. The police state. I would think it would be inhumane the way they're treating. Well, if I were considered a human being. Well, they don't consider me in that way. Just something to pass by. Another day, good afternoon. And some, well, they pass by and show respect, say good afternoon. And that's just fine. Others that feel the need to laugh each day and happen to be involved. Oh, frequent flyers on the U.S. Air Force supersonics, extrajudicially extradited a multitude of times I was between the years 11 and 15. The police, they're not subjected to any type of investigation. Above the law? Oh no, right there, in line. U.S. national security. That is the law of the land. Who has the upper hand? The agency Yankee Sam. Allowed to behave however they deem necessary. That means rape, torture, anything their way. Well, that's their style, and they get to have whatever they deem necessary. Have, obtain, torture. For them, it's a good time. Something to snicker about for years to come. Vroom, vroom. See how this all ends. They've been quite rude, some of them. You people could only imagine. Being assaulted, sexually assaulted, and daily the assailants walk by, make comments, laugh. Well, I'll continue on. The history. Family Clark, placed at the USDIA. The United States of America.
How you doing, sir?
Another day. Time to rise up. Confront the U.S. government. Get out there. Kick off the revolution. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the Capitol. Broadcasting live from the doorsteps of the Reading Police Department. Family Clark, going back, thinking about the history. What happened was, the outpost. Where we're located, the outpost, and I'm talking about the foundation of the United States of America. Many people don't realize because available isn't the history due to the land grab, the illegal hold of assets. The USDIA felt the need to change the history, place forth falsehoods that Yankee has based their ideology, their understanding of themselves, their identity. They're not aware of their actual history. I have to say, in large part, for many years I was unaware as well. Never gave it much thought. What was going on in the West, and I'm speaking about the continental United States of America, in the late 1700s, pens to the paper, and I would have been another. The colonizers were on the East Coast and hadn't made the trek yet to places such as what's known as today Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. That was all greater Texas. Well, not all. Colorado was, though. Big part of it. The change in history has a lot to do with the illegal hold of assets. If understood is the actual history, the ones who hold the properties could no longer maintain control. They would be questioned. It doesn't coincide with the history. How can that be? So what happened was they made the history meet the events of today, and the history perpetually changes. What occurs? They stay pace, right there in their place, unchallenged. So, pens to the paper. How do they imagine it was in Phoenix, Arizona? Well, let's speak about Will, or Willow. I believe Willow was first. Willow. Willow, Arizona was an outpost, a tent, and everyone knows what popped up: a store, and some more, a trading post. And who is there to guard the goods? The gentry. The regiment soldier. Wherever was located a regiment soldier was located a family Clark member. What they did was murder. They would kill the store owner and take over the identity after the career had been made. Meaning, gained was the fame, they invested their hard work, fought off the intruders, kept their hold, which was known as the trading post. When things were running smoother, oft was the owner and put on was a mask. And usually the mask was donned before oft was the owner. The owners were the crime family Hawkins. Since they're a crime family, Hawkins goes first. Hawkins crime family. Family Clark, U.S. DIA operators from the start, from when they exited the dungeons, the estate of Windsor, and the Monarch others, they discovered by breaking the psyche that they could have themselves subservients. Those subservients in the business are termed models. They collect the models, and the models go out and construct, do work, such as contractors. Family Clark, every president for decades, U.S. president, bloodline family Clark, mask wearers, nearly all of them, daily mask wearers. I haven't reviewed that part, which ones wore masks during their presidency and which ones didn't, but for the most part they did. And of course there's the family James, who are family Hopkins, and that's Barry. That's where he hopped in. Right there in the line of presidents. They're also a pyramid family, the Hopkins. I'm trying to remember how many Hopkins sisters there were between 1908 and 1920. Well, let's see how many we can get. Who's first? Esther, Erla, Ella, Ada, Penelope, Sophia, Verna. Each one of those names, those women, birthed at least 18 children. That's the number that's awaited from the birther women. The family Clark practiced the same thing, and not only did they practice, I mean, they were the ones, and until this day, are handlers over the Hopkins. The bloodline is well known, and that's both the families, family Clark, family Hopkins. Hopkins are the leaders for the African community. One public known them. I don't use celebrity nor. They hold their fame. They're placed on the screen. Perhaps as a musician, as an actor, actress, sports. How can that be? It's all on talent. Well, there's a little bit more involved in the referees. Well, it should be noted, they wear masks. There's a couple right here at this police department. Major games. Go ahead and match up the eyes. Robert Oppenheimer, for one.
Have a good night.
Robert Oppenheimer, if they go to the group AC/DC, he's known as Angus. Let me think, his last name. Angus. Is it Young? He's that one. Angus. At the games, he wears black and white. He's the referee. They can go ahead and match those eyes. Here at the Reading Police Department, he's Robert Oppenheimer. If they'd like to know him further, he's class of 67, Shasta High School, Robert Oppenheimer. Wait, he'd be class 66. Yep. Born in 47, he'd be class of 65, I know. I graduated sometimes in 65, sometimes in 66. Well, there was that class 68. And I should have graduated by 71, seeing I was in Vietnam from 70 to 75. And from 72 to 75, official. Been trained. Awaited to carry out the task without lacking. Never slacking. So I do associate to that age group. Mike Anguson, he's another. He goes by Del Walt these days at the Reading Police Department. Black and white at the Major League games. Baseball. They're often out on the field. So is Doug Carroll here at the Reading Police Department. Birth name Doug Oliver. Born in 49. Mike Anguson, 51. If they want to know them further, go ahead and look up in the yearbooks. Shasta High School, Mike Anguson, class of 69. Mike Harding. Or is it Mike Lombardi? That's at Enterprise. Shasta High School, Mike Harding. Michael Harding. Class 69. Go ahead and match up those eyes. Doug Carroll. Birth name Doug Oliver. Here at the Reading Police Department, he's Doug Carroll. Carroll's Keys, multitude of murders just a couple blocks from here. They're allowed to murder, and go unchallenged, unhindered in their activities, due to they're allowed to invoke U.S. national security at their discretion. And I'm not making light of that number. Use their official status as police officials. Put them in the face of the customers, place the customer in a trance state, take them in the back room, sexually violate the victim until death, discard of the corpse, one after another. Doug Oliver, born in 49. Here at the Reading Police Department, Doug Carroll. It's also known as Doug Sharon. He'd be Richard Sharon. Yeah, that's of the DEA. They might know him. Of course they do. They protect each and every one of these. And who's them? The U.S. federal government, their team. These are the lead representatives that are being mentioned. Oh, it is a pyramid. And the entire group, oh, they fall in line. They don't do anything contrary. 2.5 years out here. My presence shows their guilt. Doug Oliver. There's the U.S. DIA operators that are allowed to rape and torture. Go unhindered in their activities. If ever challenged, invoke on the spot U.S. national security. Hush order in place. Everyone involved threatened with 5 years of incarceration for any violation of the stipulations. That's why this situation persists. An ongoing protest. Right now on the sign, rates cops, torture, inserted pins through my testicles, into my eyeballs, under my fingernails. We're talking a 2 foot by, I believe it's 20 inches by 24 inches, the sign. The letters, 2 3/4. I do feel that's quite visible for the public. They're quite aware of how it behaved their police department. They have no qualms with having rapists and murderers out there patrolling the street, able to abuse their authority at any time they deem necessary. Go unchallenged, not subjected to any type of oversight. Doug Oliver, born in '49, Shasta High School, class of '67. Doug Scheimer, Scheimer. If they'd like to know him further, the Box Tops on the guitar. A multitude, America, the lead singer. And a multitude of other groups. George Thorogood. He wasn't a destroyer. Nor did he play all that slide. Oh, someone else does quite well. Never been paid $1 nor given any type of accreditation. Loggins in Messina. Loggins, he changed eyes about 74, and another played his part for a couple years, and then another. Mike Anguson, Ken Loggins. Or if they go to Entertainment Tonight, 1987, he'd be Gary Hart.
How you doing?
Another day.
Another day, another dollar, right?
Oh, not for me.
Not for you, huh?
No, Ryan Police Department denies that right.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is too bad they conceal my identity. Have yourself a good day, official.
Have a good day.
All the listeners out there, kick off the revolution. Be part of the solution. Overthrow the U.S. government. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the Capitol. This can all be proven easily, listeners. They have the computer technology, the Fed agents at the federal government, those Fed agents, U.S. federal agents from the FBI to the NSA and all the other non-significant initials. They have the access to the computers, can run the eyes, in a moment know that there is a match. Can you people imagine out there that make bets? Those games are rigged oftentimes. The majority. The refs, they're set. The coaches as well. They call the plays. And a multitude of players. They throw off the plays. Imagine that. Lost a fortune? Well, now maybe they understand it's not good to bet. No. Who wins? The bookie. They stay in business. It's a big boss jock. Inside of me is our one only God. He helps me do this rhyme, line by line. I do give my thanks, along with gratitude, for our Father in heaven, Allah, our one only God. In a moment, continuing with the history. For now, momentarily, signing off.